What's up, Free? Appreciate y'all giving me that reprieve. I've been driving around for a minute, and I had to get my mind right. I'm in the grocery getter. Y'all know I don't smoke in Mama's car, so I had to do that thing before I got back in here because, frankly, I got some things I got to talk about. I mean, you just don't know what you're gonna hear until you just start listening. Brother Ali 8100, Kimi Kali, appreciate y'all checking in here Sunday afternoon. Y'all got a whole lot of other shit y'all could be doing, but if you're checking in here today, you're checking in for the truth. You're checking in for the truth. I got the truth today, as I always do, but I got the truth that's going to be told by even somebody other than myself. Yeah, I know a lot of my focus recently has been on young brother who was shot. And when I say young, I mean young. 6-year-old shot by his next door neighbor. And where the community is at with this thing, community's all screwed up because they believe that it's this person's fault and it's that person's fault. And ultimately, it's the motherfucker who pulled the trigger's fault. Okay, I don't care about all the courts and all that. It should have never happened. We should have never been there. Brother Knowledge. But I need anybody that has seen anything on this 6-year-old who has been shot. I need y'all sharing this from the Hap space, from your Facebook pages, from your YouTube pages, simply because what we're doing now is we're uncovering the truths. The lies have been revealed. So we're going to uncover the truths. And I need everybody that's going to be in the chat, if you're going to be active in the chat, make sure that if there's somebody that comes through here and they don't quite know what's going on, put that up so I can bring them up to speed. Because what I'm trying to do today is not lose anybody. I'm not trying to lose anybody. I'm about to drop bombs, but I always drop bombs. Sister Shanna, appreciate your family all the way from the West Coast, Northern California. We got Lynchburg, Virginia. We got Northern California. We got Tampa, Florida. That's just what I know. That's just what I know. I don't know where Ali 8100 is from. I probably do because I probably asked. I just forgot. I'm sorry. But I need to know where all y'all at today. St. Louis, Missouri. Look at this. We're going to go all over the country today with this stream. And we need everybody sharing it. I don't get into that a lot. I don't get into share this and like that and follow this. Y'all know I don't do that. Because the message stands strong enough to where it should be done anyway. But everybody that's either told untruths because they were ignorant or they told untruths because they were stupid. They all gonna be brought into the fold today too. I watched the pod last night, had an attorney on it, and he was lying. And I'm like, God damn, why you gotta lie? You ain't even a part of the case. What the fuck you doing lying? So we're gonna bring all that out today. But I appreciate everybody who's in the space. San Bernardino. If I don't recognize them free, you make sure you recognize them. Anybody that's new in here, my madam moderator, Frida, she gonna make sure that she keeps the chat room popping. I got great family in here that's been delivering me information. And I'm gonna make a phone call and we're gonna get somebody on the line that is very, very close to this situation. I do not divulge my sources, but you'll understand there can't be no lies where this is gonna come from. There won't be no lies where this comes from. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk it slow. We're gonna walk it slow today. And let's get it all out. Let's get it all out. Sister Kim, good afternoon. I know you in Joe Manchin country. I know where you at. Make sure we're good. The music will shut down because we're going to be on the phone. I want to make sure I'm piped through here nicely.
Hello.
Hey, lady, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm well. I want to make sure we got a good level in here. We got a good level in here, y'all. Can y'all hear her? Say hello for me one more time.
Hello. Can you tell if I'm? Is there somebody in there that can tell you?
Yep. They said we got a good signal. Yep, we got a good signal. So my biggest thing is you're gonna come through the Bluetooth of the car, where the music usually comes through. I just want to make sure that they can hear you clearly. I got a thumbs up. I got a perfect sound. I got a yes. So that means we're ready. So
awesome.
I already told him I'm not divulging your name. I don't need to, based on what we're gonna talk about. And I'll be totally transparent. And hopefully the brother made it in. But I talked to young Kobe's father right before this video. I did not call him. He was calling me back. I had did a wellness check call and was just checking in with him. He literally called me back. I told him I was about 3 minutes from going live, and I'd love for him to hear what I have to say because I didn't have the time to be able to tell him personally, but I'd love to hear what I have to say and what's going to be said, because we've had a situation going on over at his house or next door to his house, and he needs to understand this is why they're playing the games that they're playing. So without really going into too much initially, what I want from you is you to tell me why the people from this restaurant may be trying to protect this situation. And then that'll kind of open up my can of worms that I have. Why are they trying to protect this situation?
I don't know that they're trying to protect the situation more than they're trying to protect their daughter at this point.
The daughter, yeah.
The daughter is the one who does own the house that the gun was shot through the window.
Okay.
The daughter does. Unfortunately, and my understanding is she was not at the residence at the time when the shooting happened.
Okay.
She was at work. But it's been brought to my attention that he has been maybe abusive with her. So that kind of changes the situation a little bit for me.
Okay.
Domestic, abuse, it does something to somebody. And I think the family, they were given bad advice, I think, to be transparent only about some things and not everything.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, it's led us to the situation where it, just appears that they're lying about everything, which I don't think was their intent. However, I do think their intent was to protect their daughter.
So when you say that they were given bad advice, who were they given advice from?
The family has contacted an attorney.
Okay.
And I've been given this information from someone directly affiliated with the family.
Right.
And the attorney, they told them that first announcement they made about, him being an employee back in 2015. They only put it what the attorney told them was okay to put out there. And then the attorney has since told them not to communicate with anybody about this case whatsoever. And me personally, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a PR person. But I just feel like they've been given really bad advice by this attorney. And I wonder if it's because of the connection with Washtenaw County and everything that they've done
Sure.
Wrong in this case.
Sure. So from the beginning, I thought something was strange. I thought something was odd because I had did some digging and to find out that the family who owned the restaurant had the same last name as the person who owned the house. So I thought something was strange there. And then I started seeing cancel Poe House and don't eat here and don't eat there. So I'm like, okay, so there probably is some type of connection. And then I started to see several people starting to say, well, wait a minute. He doesn't work there now. And he was only there until 15. And the family didn't like him. I even seen in a thread that he was a booty call. And I'm sorry, but you saw that post too? That he was a booty call?
I saw the post too.
Okay, so you saw, and I'm looking at him when he was on camera in the arraignment. I'm like, he was a booty call? I'm like, God damn. I mean, who was desperate enough to call his ass? But anyway, that's not my business. I'm like, what the fuck? So they said he was a booty call. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I was like, I got a little stereotypical. I was like, she's Asian, he's Asian. They boyfriend and girlfriend, or maybe even more, maybe even husband and wife. But I hadn't known anything because I hadn't met Brother Arnold yet. I hadn't met Brother Kobe yet. So I didn't even know the relationship of these two until I met them. And they told me what everybody else hadn't told me. Everybody else said basically that this was some random shit. He was a resident. He was not visiting his girlfriend's house. He lived at that house and has been living at that house since she moved in. So since she closed on the house, they both moved in. Now what you're telling me is the family doesn't like this union or has not liked this union?
My understanding is they have not approved from it from day one. It's actually caused a lot of conflict amongst the family because of the claims of domestic violence. And they have persuaded her to, get a restraining order, go to the police for years now. And that's one of the reasons why my understanding is why he was let go from the restaurant back in 2015.
Okay.
Was because of the situation with their daughter and him not being a kind human being, in my opinion. So I think that has a lot to do with why the family was kind of afraid to speak out and tell everything. And then you add on top of it this so-called attorney giving them, in my opinion, bad advice. To only put half truths out there, it makes it look really bad.
Right. Now, and let me just do a little bit of housekeeping. Free, I know we had a task at the beginning of this clip. Did we get everything out to Ann Arbor pages? Did we get everything out to Ypsilanti pages? Did we get everything out to the Freedmen pages, the Descendants of Slavery pages? I need this link going out, this HAPS link going out, because so many people have spoke on this case. So many people have spoke on this incident, and they've spoken ignorantly. We're here to clear all air today. And what we're learning right now is not only that he was not, well, we knew he wasn't an occupant. We knew he was a resident. Now we know that the family hasn't wanted this union. Something else you told me, after all this kind of got heated up, didn't the daughter kind of take a few days off or something?
She did. The family was really worried and concerned because of while he is still in jail, his family is contacting her repeatedly. And I don't know I haven't been informed that she spoke to him in jail, but the family was obviously discouraging this, and she ended up running out of the actually full house. She was up there and took a couple days and just wouldn't answer her phone because she's so stressed and torn in the situation.
Right.
Because her family, well, not their livelihood, but their lives are being threatened.
Sure, sure.
And she also has this weird connection with this Ryan.
Right.
So I think, at 26, she's still a baby, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's so unfortunate. I'm fearful for her life.
Right.
What is he going to do to her when he gets out?
Right. Right. I thought about that after the first time we talked. I said, the dynamic here is he's got her hypnotized.
Absolutely.
He's got her hypnotized, and I know that the term when it's more of a sexual thing, it's dickmatized. But something tells me Ryan ain't got her dickmatized. There's something tells me that it's not dickmatized. But and I'm sorry. I just hey.
Hey, it is what it is.
I used to own an adult shop, and I've seen a few Asian porn videos, and I don't think he's got her dickmatized. I'm just saying, I'm just saying. But it is what it is. But on the serious note, if he has been abusive, because I only can say allegedly. You've only said allegedly from what it seems. So if he has been allegedly abusive to her, this would give her more than enough reasons to get out of Dodge, to not want to answer questions from her family, to not want to answer questions from his family, because from what we do know now, and we'll get into this too, we know now that his family has connections in law enforcement.
That is correct.
We now know that his mother may even be a bailiff at the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office or for Washtenaw County. I don't know. I haven't confirmed her employee's status. I've heard it's with the county. Now I've heard it's a bailiff. I'm not sure. But what we do know for sure that they have connections in Livingston County.
I mean, I can't understand any reason to discredit that they have connections in Livingston County, because he's back in Livingston County jail. That's where he was the first time.
Right.
Why Livingston County? You get Belleville 10 minutes away, like I said earlier. That's Wayne County.
Right.
So why not put him there?
Right.
Why all the way up to Livingston County?
Right. And at minimum, he's getting preferential treatment, and not anybody knows why. I mean, why if he's just a shooter, and unfortunately it's of a child, and why can't he be just put in isolation in the county jail? Why has he been moved out of the county and put in Livingston County jail when we have Ypsilanti Police Department, we have Canton Police Department, we have Van Buren Police Department, all that have holding cells that could be capable of keeping somebody 5-7 days or however long it's going to take for him to reach bail, we've got a rumor that he's already posted bail, but because the courts had closed up on the weekend, they need somebody to stand in front of a judge to talk about supervision and whatnot. But we might as well disclose this as well. We called, you and I, we called
Yes, we did.
Livingston County Jail, and we requested inmate information on the shooter. And the only verification that they could give us was that he was there. They couldn't give us a bond history because he doesn't have a bond with Livingston County. He's got a bond with Washtenaw County.
Yeah, I was really surprised on that phone call. The guy there really didn't have much information. When he answered the questions, and which I'm very grateful that he did. When he looks at his screen, it's a no bond situation.
Right.
Is what he sees.
Right.
Who's pulling these strings? Who's doing this? Is this his mom, his dad? What connections do they have that are so prominent that they're not only able to transfer him to Livingston County, which is not the closest place for travel distance, because he has to be brought back each time he goes to court to Washtenaw County. So it would make more sense for him to be someplace, a city neighboring us, like Canton or Belleville, like you said.
Sure.
Or Van Buren.
Sure.
So who is it that has these ties that is not only getting him this, in a different county, but specifically Livingston?
Right.
It's not the closest one to us.
Right. And it only makes sense. You're only going to move him where you can pull strings. You're not gonna move him somewhere where you have no pull, where you really can't. So I'm sure he's getting very, very fairly treated. Not to say that I need him unfairly treated in jail. I'm sure he's probably getting decent meals. I'm sure he's probably got everything that he needs, being that he's in Livingston County, because somebody had the pull to get him out there. And I'm sure that everybody that stood out in front of that courthouse the day that he had his emergency bond hearing, I'm sure that 90% of those people, because they probably haven't made a phone call, had no reason to, because he's back in jail now. They probably think he's over there at Washtenaw and Hogback. They don't think that he's in Livingston County.
Yeah, I mean, all those videos you've seen on the news of him walking out of Washtenaw County are very deceiving.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and him being arraigned, his second hearing being in Washtenaw County and him being remanded back to jail, nowhere was it said in there he was going back to a different county.
Right.
He doesn't have charges in that county.
Nope.
His only charges are in Washtenaw County.
That's correct.
So, and if he does go back to court tomorrow, and if his bond is posted and he has someone to take custody of him, they'll see him walking out of Washtenaw County again.
Right.
It's very deceiving.
It's really like Hollywood. Hollywood can use the smoke and mirrors, the camera angles, and this, that, and the other to make something look one way and have it totally be another way. And that's what Washtenaw County is doing. We can't blame. We said we're not going to blame Livingston County, because that man was more than cordial to us on that phone.
Was very kind.
He was very kind. And he almost seemed confused, because he knew who we were talking about when I gave the name. He knew what we were requesting. It was just simple information. Had he bonded out, but was still remaining in custody. And he said, "Let me give you what I got." And he was like, "Yes, he is here. No, he is not posted bond, but I'm showing he doesn't have a bond." And the simple case, and I told you about what I had in the situation, this is 30 years ago, when you have a situation that you can't get out of jail no way, no how until a judge says so, they can put you down as no bond, because they don't want something to slip through the cracks. Somebody come in there with a duffel bag full of money, hey, here's the $100,000, he's got to go. See, this ain't like the TV when they say, oh, you got a bond? Okay, here's the money, sign him out, and he's gone. No, they want to make sure that when they sign him out, they're signing him out to the supervising party. They get approval of the supervising party's house, address, and all that stuff. They want to make sure. So nothing's going to get done, because from this point on, this Photoshop, what's I don't know what that is. I shouldn't even be looking at the chat right now. I should be focusing. So the situation that's going to happen is they're going to make it look as if he was in the county. We now know that he's not in the county, but they're going to have to cross every T and dot every I from this point on, because what most people don't know, and because the lies, and some of them are lies, because everybody wants to blame Ellie Savitt. Everybody wants to blame Victoria Burton Harris. Everybody wants to blame the prosecutor's office for not showing up to that hearing. Now, I've blamed them. I've blamed Ellie. I've blamed Victoria for not showing up to that hearing, because I thought that it should have probably been important enough for them, because they knew it was a child that was shot. Hell, it's the first 6 months of their tenure, and they've been ridden hard for every policy and bill that they put forward. Why would you not want to be there? But they trusted the system. They trusted the protocol. But see, for them, and this is just me, I'm old, okay, and I ain't been in nobody's law school, but this is just me. I'm covering my ass if I'm Ellie Savitt. I'm covering my ass if I'm Victoria Burton Harris, because right now they don't have no allies. They don't come up here and shook up Washtenaw County with all these progressive bills and policies that they want to put in play, and the old regime still lurks. Lurks.
I totally agree. So somebody is signing these orders.
Absolutely.
And, why did Washtenaw County not show up at that meeting? My understanding that I've recently learned is the police report does not reflect the entire situation that was made on this case.
Right.
And, I was very upset with Magistrate Fink's decision, and I still don't agree with her. She's made, her history speaks for itself.
Sure.
In cases like this. But she didn't have all the information, period.
Right.
She should have stopped that and said, I'm going to take an hour recess or a 24-hour recess, and I'm going to research this.
Right.
This is not a, fight, or this is not some random. This is a child being shot at.
But you've listened, and I'm sorry to interrupt you there. You've listened to the hearing several times, like I have. You notice how the defense attorney, because he's good. I didn't give him the credit that he deserved, because I didn't know who he was, because I haven't really been that fucked up in the law to know that he was even a pretty well respected defense attorney around here. But one of the things that he did is he bumbled through until he figured out that the judge didn't know no more than he knew. And once he figured out that the judge didn't know no more than he knew, his ass took advantage of that. He knew that the boy that had been shot was a 6-year-old, but that's not his job to care about that. His job is to care about who's locked up. But
that's exactly what his job is he's taking care of his client. And I can't fault him for that,
Right.
Everybody is, due their due process in the legal system, and they have representation.
Right.
So I can't argue that's that man's job.
Right.
However, I can argue that Washtenaw County, the way they made that police report, and the fact that they didn't bother to show up, that they are taking this so lightly. Would it be different if the child died? God forbid. But would that make people actually pay attention? But because he was back out riding his bike and being a 6-year-old, it's just kind of swept under the rug.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's what we have. Washtenaw County put together a very shallow investigative report. They put together the report so shallow, the judge, remember the hearing, the judge actually said, I'm not understanding why I need to have $100,000 bail here, because she was looking at something that said accidental.
An accidental shooting. There was nothing about the prior issues that led up to that day or in the previous weeks.
Previous moment. The sledgehammer incident wasn't in there either. So
yeah, and that is a big part of it.
That
shows, it's a behavior that's went on, that's continued. Yeah. It wasn't in one split instance he just did something stupid.
Right.
This is a behavior that had progressed.
Right.
For a while coming up to this point. I just think that everyone is focusing so much on faux house and this and that. What we really need to be focused on here is, one, who's pulling all these strings to get this guy's special treatment? Why did Washtenaw County not put forth a complete report with all these things? Is that Jerry Clayton? I feel as him being, the high up in our police force, why wasn't he there?
Right.
Why hasn't he been out to talk to this family
Right.
himself? This happened in his county.
Right.
On his watch. Where are you? You know, whose gun was it?
So, excuse me, I'm sharing this. I'm just putting this out here to places that I drop videos. No. I need you talking, because the biggest thing for us is we're unloading things that haven't been talked about. I've talked about the sheriff's office because what they did was they wanted to sweep it right towards the prosecutor's office. And I have no problem with them sweeping it towards the prosecutor's office, because the prosecutor, they gave the opening to be blamed by not being at the hearing, by not being in that Zoom screen. Absolutely. And being able to argue their reasoning for the $100,000. They need it, and the supervision and the tethering and all that stuff. They deserve that blame, but they did put forth the request. My thing is, I don't like that soft-boiled shit. I don't believe in let's hit send it over to the judge, or here's the file, and because now you're trusting other people to be credible. You're going to trust a defense attorney. You're going to trust a judge. You're going to trust the WCSO when you know that they all have had issues. The Fink family in this county has had issues. Joe Simon is a defense attorney. I'm sure he's probably curbed the truth a few times for his clients. And
of course,
Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office, they're coming off of 3 terms of absolute minimalism, and he gets a 4th term and asks in his campaign promise, let us finish what we started. And we haven't seen shit that he's finished, but we know what the fuck he started. And he started a bad regime of lying, deception, abuse, assault. You know,
absolutely.
I mean, and it's continuing with this because you take what we would know just to be an ordinary person off the street, and he gets arrested, and you launch him to Livingston County. Okay, fool me once. We see him on the news cameras coming out of Washtenaw County. Then you put him back in jail because he gets a $100,000 bond. So now he's 90 light. Now he had 10. Now he gets 100. So they got to put 90 with it. Now we go put him right back in Livingston County. Wait a minute. I thought that was just for him.
That was never discussed.
It was never discussed.
Why didn't that come up? Why didn't that come up during this, second hearing?
Why didn't the magistrate know why he was in Livingston County? See, when the magistrate doesn't even know, she wasn't even in the know as to why he wasn't at Washtenaw County. So that was a situation.
But here's my problem with that.
Go ahead.
My problem with that. They went off camera during that first hearing
to
go private and discuss this.
Yep.
So before she made her ruling, she knew what the fuck was going on as far as that. Why he's in Livingston County. That's why they went silent, and we weren't able to hear that.
Right.
I'd love to get a hold of that conversation.
That couple-minute conversation that happened between them, because the defense attorney actually requested it. He said, Judge, can we go off camera? She said, well, we're still going to be recording. So we appreciate Judge Fink still be recording. So we know that's on record. And that should be made public to what that discussion was as to why he was in Livingston County. Because if he had no priors and he had no reason, he didn't flee and they caught him in Livingston County. He had been lodged in Livingston County. She didn't even know why. She was that much of a novice on the case that she didn't know why. What judge doesn't know that type of business?
Right. He was arrested on Candlewood at the house that he shot from.
Right.
10 minutes from Washtenaw County.
Right.
Why the hell is he in Livingston County again?
Again.
He was in Washtenaw County when he was at court that day, and they remanded him back to jail.
Right.
But they drove his ass back to Livingston County.
Hey. I don't need you insinuating that they drove him. He's got that much pull. They might have put him on a helicopter. They might have put him on a fucking helicopter. If he's got that much pull, shit. They might have put him in an autonomous Tesla and shit, unmarked and shit, and had him driven out there. Who knows? This guy's got some fucking pull. I mean, where I'm at, I don't believe that this is done unintentionally. I don't believe that we're just coming up on this shit because, this is blatant. This is blatant. Derek Jackson went on record to say, people need to stop calling the sheriff's office. We don't make bonds here. The prosecutor's office makes bonds. That made the hair on my neck, and I'm not even a hairy person, that made the hair on my neck stand up, because I do know this much. I know this much. You might not set the bonds, but what you can do when that hearing comes up, that arresting officer and that investigative officer, that detective, they could be in court supporting the prosecutor's office and say, this is why he needs to be off the street, Your Honor. It hasn't been discussed in this hearing because it's not relevant to the shooting. But right before the incident, he wielded a sledgehammer and tried to hit the young man. Now, why wasn't that put into the report? Because when that call was made, I'm sure by then he's already called his mother and his father, and the wheels were already in motion. They probably knew exactly which deputies were going to pick him up.
I'm sure of it. No doubt. I mean, there's too much that doesn't make sense.
Now, I don't know exactly what y'all talking about in the chat. I don't know what y'all talking about in the chat, but we're not doing no fucking guilty by reason of insanity here. Fuck all that mental illness shit. I don't know what that's got anything to do with this motherfucker who shot this 6-year-old. Y'all need to shut that down now. I don't even want that in my algorithm that this motherfucker might have something wrong with him. This motherfucker works for Toyota. He works for fucking Toyota. Now, I'm sure they did a physical on him. They did a mental exam on him. They did a records check on him. Fuck all that mental illness. Black people can't get off on mental illness. So y'all letting him off on mental illness? He shot a 6-year-old after fucking wielding a sledgehammer. What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on? We're just mailing it in now? Mental illness. Mental illness. Wow. Fuck his mental illness. I don't give a fuck what's wrong with him. He is a privileged white man in an Asian body. Because he got white privilege all day.
100% accurate. Why are we going, and that kind of leads me back to the Boathouse thing. Why is everybody spending so much time on it? Not that it's not important, but what about his family that has all these connections? Why are we not looking at that? Why is this person being treated so ridiculously well that did this? Obviously his family has connections somewhere. Why aren't we going after that? Why aren't we digging into why Washtenaw County is so willing to go above and beyond for this person? And that I think is the real fact that we need to figure out.
I'm not against, because I want him to have his day in court. I definitely want him to have his day in court, but I'm not against somebody being put in a protective situation.
But that doesn't have to be in another county.
It doesn't have to be in another county. I mean, it doesn't have to be in another county. It doesn't have to be in another jail. They could put, there's holding cells. There's holding cells right across from the little room that they sit in. When they bring you out, and shit and tell you to lift your sack and turn around and open your cheeks, there's a holding cell right across from them motherfuckers. Why can't they put him in that cell so they can see everything that goes on? They can see everything that goes on. Nobody can ever get to him, whether it be employees or inmates. Why did he get a chance to be moved to another county?
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't, other than some shady ass shit in Washtenaw County. And that's your only explanation.
That's the only explanation. That's the only logical explanation that we have here, is that there's something going on in the county, and then the county wants to throw it right under the prosecutor's office. We didn't set the bond. Prosecutor's office sets the bond. No, the prosecutor's office requests the bond. The prosecutor's office cannot set the bond. They requested the bond. Because if they had set the bond, you and I probably wouldn't be talking right now.
No, we wouldn't. Probably.
And here's the thing. If they set the 100, he'd have already been out anyway. Then that would have been too low. That's why I said in my cast before, they should have set it at $1 million. set it at $1 million, and put so much pressure on his ass that if he knows he's got $1 million bounty on his head, he can't breathe easy at all. 10,000 wasn't shit. 100,000 ain't gonna be shit. You know, sounds like the mother and the father don't live together. So they probably both own homes, and they both can mortgage their homes, pull that money out of their homes, or go to a bail bonds, show the bail bonds.
They go to a bail bond.
They go right to them. They go right to them and show them the deeds to their house, and they'll be like, okay, I'll do this. I'll put it up. Because it doesn't matter really where the money comes from. It's all fucking monopoly money at that point. But the fact that they didn't ask for a bond, possibly not attainable, is because they are trying to be fair with their no cash bail system. But dangerous people are supposed to be remanded to jail and not let out. See, here, they went back on their word for no cash bail. You got a person that's a danger to the community that they may have not known about. See, I got wind of some other shit too. When they made their request based off of the WCSO report, if that's not in there about the sledgehammer, if that's not in there about his history of throwing Kobe's bike in the trash, having words with Brother Arnold, if that's not in the police report, he really doesn't look like he could be a danger. It just looks like it's random. And then for them to say that it was accidental, it was an accidental shooting? How was it an accidental shooting when he shot from inside his house? It wasn't like he had his gun in his hand and the bullet hit the ground and ricocheted. He shot through his window. He shot.
So was it a hand? Do we know if it was a handgun or a rifle that he used?
I heard it was a lower caliber gun, because if it was a bigger, it would have took that window all the way out. All it did was pierce a hole in the window, and then the window ran. And hell, you go by the house now, they got fucking duct tape on the window. They didn't even fix the window. So I don't know who fixed the window. I don't know who bandaged the window up, but they didn't replace it with any wood or anything. It's just a piece of duct tape, you know. And it was a small piercing, so they said it was a lower caliber gun. Here's the thing, just by logical standards, you know it had to be lower caliber, or it could have just tore Kobe's arm off.
Right.
We're talking about a 6-year-old, and I saw the boy. He's tiny. Okay, he's tiny.
He's so, little.
Right. So if you're talking about a huge gun, you know, something, you know, 40 caliber, this, that, and the other, it would have probably tore his arm right off. Or when they said it went in one side, not the other, his arm would have just been hanging open, hanging right off the bone. But because it was a smaller caliber gun, it left a little small piercing through the window and, you know, went in and out. And, you know, I don't know if they recovered the shell casing or not. I don't know any of that stuff. My thing was, I was so focused on how and why, I had no idea that we're going to end up uncovering all the way up to domestic violence, you know, histories of abuse, manipulation, and now to know that he works for Toyota. So he's not only been protected this way, they're probably trying to protect his career with Toyota. Because if you looked at the hearing, he was so anxious to get out of jail, he had no remorse in his body that he had shot a 6-year-old. He just said, so do I just sit here and wait for Washtenaw County to come get me? I'm like, damn. So wouldn't you want to just let your attorney ask all those questions, and maybe you just drop your head and don't say anything and act like you're remorseful? He didn't even act like he was remorseful.
There was no remorse at all. I seen none in that video, either of them. You know, and it makes me wonder too, if they knew what, you know, they brought him back down from Livingston County for that second court hearing. The first one, wasn't he in Livingston County jail?
Okay, so the first one, he was in Livingston County jail. The second one, he was on the street.
He was in Washtenaw County.
No, he was on the street. They had to call him back in and say, hey, we're having an emergency hearing. So I'm sure they reach out to his attorney, and his attorney reaches out to him and says, hey, meet me somewhere, or meet me up at the county. We got to go for this hearing. No, he was on the street for what, a day or two? He was out.
He got out on Tuesday, and the second hearing was on Thursday.
Right. So he was out.
But I'm pretty sure he was in Washtenaw County's courthouse somewhere. It seems like on the video it said Washtenaw County.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I thought you meant Lodge. No, the second court hearing was in Washtenaw County. And when they remanded him back to jail and took him behind the wall, it was the assumption, and when they said he's back in custody. See, now we can look at this. It was assumed that he was back in Washtenaw County's custody. But by the time that video was made and that post was made that he was back in custody by the prosecutor's office, he was probably already on his way back to Livingston.
He was already back in Livingston County. Yeah. And, and that's what's so infuriating is why? Who is pulling the strings? Who has that much pull in the county to not only make sure that he is in a completely different area, but one that his family allegedly has ties to?
And
who has that much pull?
And who would want to undermine the prosecutor's office like this, knowing this won't be the last time that you need the prosecutor on a situation like this? Because the report was underwhelming. The investigative report was underwhelming to the point where it confused the magistrate, wondering why she should give him this type of bail. Because you put in that he basically shot this kid on accident, that there was no malcontent. This was not like him and whatever. And I don't know what the exact words. I haven't even been interested to see because here's my thing. I just don't think it should have happened. I didn't think the sledgehammer needed to happen. I don't investigate. That's not my job. I let all these so-called journalists out here do all their reading and report the shit ignorantly. But what they did was nobody dug deep enough to why this judge wouldn't just take a little bit of a break. She might have not needed to keep him in there the whole day. She could have said, you know what? Let me take a couple cases here. Then we'll take a break because this looks like something that we really need to uncover. But she went right. It was her first case of the day. She said it. I just sat down.
Yeah, she should have, by all rights, taken a break to review. Doesn't sound like there's been a lot to review because it sounds like it was a shoddy investigation from the start.
Right.
But she should have taken the time to at least review that.
And possibly give it to, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's fine. No, and, she didn't. She chose not to. She chose to, and her job as a magistrate, she works for us. Why isn't she trying to protect us?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line is this person thought it was okay to fire a weapon into a group of children.
And they kept saying minor. They didn't say kid. They didn't say child. They just said, it was a minor. And when you don't even know, or you're so tone deaf to the situation to where you don't even say, well, how old is this child that he shot? Because that right there should have brought out her maternal instincts to say, oh, a minor child was shot in this. Well, how old was the child? Well, the child was 6. Well, wait a minute. Well, why did he shoot the child? I mean, what brought all this on? Then maybe you wonder why, because at that point, you've got a shoddy investigation. Then you've got thorough requests from the prosecutor's office. Something ain't balancing out.
And also, she knew he was in Livingston County, and it wasn't on related or different charges. It was on that charge, So that right there would have been the first red flag for me. Yeah. Why is this dude in Livingston County?
Well, if his connections are with Washtenaw, Livingston County, as far as his family goes, that's all going to come out. That's all going to come out. I know locally his father is not on law enforcement. I've had enough people chase that down. I did not ask for out county. I just asked for Washtenaw County to see if he worked in the county. Then I get hit with his mother could be a bailiff at Washtenaw County. Now, if she's a bailiff at Washtenaw County, I don't see why that would even be considered a conflict of interest. It's not like, unless he goes to one of those courtrooms to where she could be a bailiff in. But at that point, you just tell her ass to take the day off.
Yes.
And,
yeah, there's 10 other cops in that area. Anybody else can take over that.
Exactly.
We've all seen courtrooms.
Right.
There's cops all over outside, and
right.
They're in the lobby, they're in the different courtrooms.
Right.
She could have been sent for a break. She could have been given the day off. She could have been sent to a different courtroom.
Right.
There's a million things that can happen there. Obviously there wasn't enough prejudice for it not to be heard in Washtenaw County.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't even make sense to me, because they allowed a Washtenaw County judge to hear it, so they didn't feel like there was enough discrepancy there.
Right. And for his court date, for his bond release date or whatever, because he's not going to stay in there till July 22nd or whenever that next hearing was supposed to be. So when his date comes up, they're going to rush him back here and give the public perception that he's been in Washtenaw County all this time.
But he hasn't.
Been.
We spoke directly to Livingston County Jail.
Right.
The man said, he is here. He has no bond, so I can't release him.
Right.
So that means his files are sealed, and only certain people can access them.
Sure. And I don't care about his family ties. It doesn't even matter to me. I know people are gonna get privilege. They're gonna catch privilege based on whether it's money or just inside connections. But what this is for us is another notch as to why Jerry Clayton shouldn't have been reelected. It's another notch why that whole sheriff administration, including the undersheriff, who has been an undersheriff for at least 2 or 3 other sheriffs, he needs to be out too, because he's complicit with all the mess. He's not only complicit with Jerry Clayton's mess, he's been complicit with every other sheriff's mess. Because if you work for one bad one, you don't work for them all. And you need to be out of that position too. You're complicit with the mess. Now it's shown that the community engagement officer, he's in on it too. What do we say about this? We got to say something to the public. Talking to Brother Arnold, Washtenaw County, as of, Friday? Washtenaw County hadn't been to his house. Nobody,
What?
Oh, no. The last time Washtenaw County seen him was when they were threatening to shoot his dog. When he was walking up the street because he didn't know what was happening, and they had his son in the back of the ambulance. That's the last deputy that he saw.
Washtenaw County has been out there to interview the family since this incident.
From the jailhouse to Habitat for Humanity, ain't nobody from the county been to see Arnold Daniel. Nobody's cared to.
Wow.
Everybody's paid more attention to the shooter and where he's going to be housed than the family of the victim.
That's unfortunate.
I'm just telling you what I've been told. And I've been told it by the victim. So if you're in a situation now, what can you do to this family that you haven't already done to them? Or you can show them the blatant disrespect. Because bond has been posted. I'm sure he'll be out no later than Tuesday. If they got a spot for him tomorrow, we'll probably hear about it tomorrow. They're not going to let him sit.
Hear about it.
I'm sorry?
We won't hear about it till after it happens.
Because I believe, did you say you saw a post and somebody said that bond had been posted, that they got a notification that the bond had been posted? Now, is that a neighbor or who is that?
It's a neighbor, and they consider themselves family with Kobe's family.
Wow.
Their children were also out there during this entire thing. When the shooting happened, their children's bikes have been thrown away by this person, their toys, all kinds of things. And she had posted that, and she actually didn't post it. It was actually in the comment section on another post. I think she had posted something about the shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And in the comment section, people were commenting, and she said, I just got contacted by Livingston County, and that he made bond. She later posts comments on there saying that she called Livingston County back, and he had posted bond, but he was not released yet because he had to go before a judge and have someone take custody of him.
Okay.
So he was still, and that was on Friday.
Okay.
That was put out.
Sure.
So it sounds like he made bond on Friday, and they just wasn't in time to go to court that day. So that he'll probably go to court Monday or Tuesday, depending on, and I'm guessing Monday because they're going to do it as quick as possible.
Right, right. So
I'm surprised they didn't have a judge coming over the weekend, to be honest.
Right, right. I mean, because I'd want to get him out the paint before everything, gets moving tomorrow. But you know what? They don't even have to because they've got the strings being pulled in from inside. Nobody from the public will gain any access to him. We probably won't get that shot of him walking out of the jail anymore. What's going to happen is they'll walk him out the back door now because he's gonna be free, and they know that there's going to be people that are possible. Go ahead.
Yeah, something tells me they'll have a car pulled down where they pull the police officer or cars where, in the garage, that he'll be released to the garage.
Yeah.
And nobody will see it.
Yeah. So I'm looking at that they'll do what they can to sweep this under. And I'm not a big person as far as call this, call that. I believe that disabling phone systems and irritating gatekeepers is pretty fucking pointless. Yeah, you're going to get some stir. I guess, I'm logical with this shit. And I've been a switchboard operator before, so I don't need you fucking calling me and asking me some dumb shit. Okay? I was a switchboard operator of a hotel, and the motherfucker would call me on a Friday afternoon, a day before a Michigan football game, and ask me if we had any rooms, if we got any rooms available. And I'm like, yeah, we do. Come on down. No, I never did that shit, but it was just one of those crazy things. But if you're in a situation where you're looking at this and you don't know anything, you're thinking, okay, they set the bond, this, that, and the other, but you don't know about him getting out, because this is what my theory is. He gets out. If that daughter isn't in lockstep with her family, there's a real possibility that she'll be the first or second person that he sees.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think she's safe.
I have been told by a close family friend of hers that his family keeps calling her repeatedly, and I'm wondering if they're not trying to get her to sign for him because he can't go to Mommy or Daddy's if there's guns there.
Right.
Where else is he going to go?
So they might be trying to get him to sign him out.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Why are they contacting? She's young. She's 26.
So she's 26. He's 29.
Allegedly.
And they started this relationship. So they were in a relationship when he was working at the restaurant in 15?
Yes.
So he was knocking.
On again, off again, abusive relationship is what I have been told.
He's been knocking her around for 6+ years.
Correct.
And let me just put this out here, because I know most of these motherfuckers won't see the post, but I was trying to tell people, I didn't like the way people were coming at Brother Arnold on their cast. I had a real problem with some ignorance, because most of these guys are from around the country. They're not here. But we got a couple that are local. We got a couple motherfuckers. And I know a motherfucker might think of me as a loudmouth, but I'm a loudmouth that's actually saying something. I'm not a loudmouth out here that's lying like you bitches. Anybody that wants to fucking challenge Brother Arnold as to what he does and how he takes care of his family, y'all motherfuckers need to pull up. Because I bet you don't take care of your family the way Brother Arnold takes care of his family. But see, everybody was talking that shit about, oh man, if that was me, I'd have did something. If that was me, I'd have took that little motherfucker out. If that was me, okay.
First of all, he wasn't even there. He was walking his dog. By the time he got back to the house, they already had him in custody.
Period.
And second of all, even if they didn't, he has other children to take care of. He's got a child that just got shot to take care of. Do you think it'd be better if he was sent in a jail cell too? No.
Who gonna take care of his house? Who gonna take care of his house? Who gonna take care of his business?
Yeah. No. That's the last thing he needs to do. I'm sorry. I think that, it would be very hard not to do something. But I'm glad he wasn't able to. I'm glad he didn't have the chance to, if he wanted to. Because he has other children to take care of. He has a little boy that was just shot that needs his daddy. Kobe deserves to have his daddy right now. So, No, those people are foolish and ridiculous. I'm sorry. That's just ridiculous thought process, in my opinion.
And sometimes it's the sensationalism of it all. That's what they want to put on their platform. Oh man, listen to him talk to the news reporter, because they take that little soundbite out. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. How do I protect my family from somebody like this? They took that little part out, and that's what they want to keep playing over and over and over. Why? Because he ain't stupid. He knows goddamn well $10,000, $100,000. That motherfucker get out. He can ride down on that house and they can spray his house up. If he's crazy enough to shoot through his goddamn window in broad daylight into a pack of kids, he's crazy enough to come by that bitch and spray that whole fucking neighborhood up.
Absolutely.
So,
and that's scary.
So
that right there, why aren't they being protected? Why
exactly.
Family been somewhere safe?
I'm thinking to myself, so the county, and I said, so the county has not been by here to talk to you? He's like, I haven't seen them since they arrested him. That's literally what he said, and that was Friday. So we were almost a week after the incident, and he hadn't heard from the community engagement officer, the victims department, well, the sheriff.
So,
go ahead.
Wait a minute. Just before you continue, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you say no one has been by there. So obviously when the sheriff was out there that day, little Kobe had been shot. He was taken away in an ambulance, I'm sure,
right,
to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So no one spoke to little Kobe? Because they clearly weren't able to get a good interview, if they did at all that day, because the kid had just been shot. So nobody's came back out to talk to that child about what happened. Nobody's came back out to offer them services.
No.
Wow. That's a special kind
He's had some volunteers who might work through the county, but I'm talking about actual badges, people that get a salary, that are paid by the county. I mean, they have a specific position. They have a social worker. Now, why wouldn't you have a social worker from the county come out and talk to you and your family and that 6-year-old? Why hasn't that happened?
Derek Jackson been out there? Why hasn't Jerry Clayton been out there? Why hasn't a social worker been out there? Derek Jackson, his involvement, community involvement, that's his position, correct?
That's his position.
So why hasn't he been out to the community that this affected directly?
Here's a question in the chat. Free just launched it. Where the hell has MLive been? Remember, we talked about that. MLive ain't put shit up about this.
No, because you know what? Washtenaw County is being dirty. That's why. Washtenaw County is being dirty behind the scenes. And I just, it's not okay.
Let me ask you this. So the way Washtenaw County has spun this to nothing, think about the national news outlets, because this is everywhere. You can just put in 6-year-old shot, and this is going to come up on about 50 different links on YouTube. Mm-hmm. CNN's reported on it. MSNBC's reported on it. I don't know if Fox has reported on it, because they don't like either. They don't like black people and they don't like Asians. So I don't know if Fox is really reporting on it. But
this isn't about black and Asians.
But it's not about black and Asians. But since they don't care about either, they don't figure it's their problem. So they let it go. Now, if they have reported on it, I'm sure they've been able to spin it. I'm sure they've been able to spin it towards something that has to do with Joe Biden and the AAPI hate crime bill. But here's the thing. The main reason that most news outlets are not bringing this out is because the Asians just got $50 million for domestic violence, for sexual abuse survivors. Well, we got 2 Asians right here that could be involved in some domestic violence. Y'all need to ship some money over to Washtenaw County and do some digging. Because if she's under, do you know her first name?
Michelle.
Okay. Her first name is Michelle, the girl who owns the house.
Yep.
So that's right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't even have to ask you that, because it's weird, because she has a American first name and then it's her Ishamisha Tongawanga. I don't know his exact name. But then his name, Ryan Lee Nguyen. So they've acquired American names. When you get those American names, she can just say Michelle, he can just say Ryan. You won't know until you see them who they are and what they are. And when I'm looking at this is the same thing that's been going on all through the country. And I'm not letting Ryan off the hook with a mental illness trip because he may be sick, but goddamn it, that's not
a pattern of behavior.
This is a pattern of bad behavior of what it is. It's a pattern of bad behavior. And if we just want to chalk everybody up, everybody got fucking mental illness. We just got out of 15 months of wearing fucking masks. Everybody's got mental illness right now. God damn it. We've been wearing masks and gloves for 15 months. Everybody's got a mental illness problem, but we ain't all out shooting motherfuckers. It's crazy.
No, we're not. It's insane. I mean, it was the middle afternoon on a Sunday. There were so many kids out there. This could have been so much worse. Is that what it takes? Is it for something worse to happen before anybody's willing to step up and say this situation is not okay? And where's Washtenaw County? Why aren't they protecting the children in their community?
This sets a precedent. This sets a precedent that, because I don't go by the moniker, because I believe it doesn't mean I have to say it, doesn't mean I have to chant it. But this just goes to show you, right as they were painting Black Lives Matter all over the city of Ypsi, Kobe's being shot. Kobe's being carried to the hospital. And an Asian man is being carted off to jail. And then he's being protected much more than Kobe was and put into another jail in another county. But this is to say that Black Lives Matter. We got to paint Black Lives Matter to make people understand it, make them see it, as if we're going to socially engineer race soldiers like Ryan. Because here's the thing. I brought this up to a couple other people. If Kobe's white, we're not talking today. We're not talking. There is a distinct situation here between the way Ryan views white Americans and the way he views Black Americans. And I'm not trying to paint this as a race situation, but this is just through life experiences. I know for a fact that when Asian people come over here raw, they come over here and they're trained to hate Black people. You ever heard an Asian person call a Black person nigger? They call it because it's almost like in the handbook for this is how you treat people. You ain't never seen a white person in a beauty supply store owned by Asian people treated badly. But you see Black women treated badly all the time.
And they're the ones who support them the most.
Absolutely.
I mean, they are the ones that are spending their dollars at those Asian beauty supplies or at this, Asian restaurant, or they're the ones spending the money there.
And I'm long overdue, but not the last time, but probably two times before the last time that I had a pedicure, right?
Yep.
Lady wasn't happy with her nails. Caucasian. She wasn't happy with her nails. Excuse me. Fucking around with this. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. The car cuts off. I'm not in my shit. And once it feels like you sitting too long, it just cuts off. It's a hybrid shit, It just lets you know that, I need to move a little bit or whatever. But, she wasn't happy with her nails. She had paid. She wasn't happy with her nails. And I'm sitting there looking at it. I'm like, okay. Because I know that the things that have happened, and this is years ago. This is, hell, like probably, it's plus probably 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. They told her they would give her money back and she could go across and let the other lady do her nails. She already got her nails done. So they was going to undo the manicure, give her money back, and then send her to another station. Now, I've seen several stories where women haven't been happy with their nails before, and they've been called all kinds of shit.
Yep.
They view our skin because we don't act any different. We're not trained to be any different until we get different, but they treat us from the outset even differently. You know, they treat us differently from the outset, but that's all because they've been socially engineered to hate us as well. Just like bigoted white people will train their kids to hate black people, they train their young maybe not to hate black people, just not to really engage with them, not to, not to fraternize with them. You know, it's one of those things. They don't want you. Hey, I'll let you know. I took a Korean girl to prom, senior prom. She had to get dressed at her friend's house, and her family thought she was spending the night at her friend's house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I guess. Go
ahead. And so I know what some of these youngins go through dealing with parents who might not want them to be around. This has been around for longer than we know. But think about it. When they feel like they're being attacked, they go into defense mode. I get it. But are you being attacked by us? Or are you being attacked by the system and you just take it out on us?
Right. And that makes me kind of think back to something that about Faux House is they've raised a black daughter. Her mother died early on in her life, and the owner of Faux House actually, she calls her mom. So, the son's best friend is always there, my understanding, and he's a black guy. So that, I don't know, the young black woman, she made me think a lot of things about that.
What the fuck? Hold on a second.
What, did we get cut off?
No, it's just somebody I've known for damn near 40 years said that she's dead.
Who's dead?
Sarah Anderson?
Oh, wow. And that's someone you've known? I'm sorry.
From school, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I'm tripping.
I get it.
I'm tripping. Wow. I mean, one of the coolest chicks out there. I don't even get it. This had to be sudden. Wow. Unless she was sick and wasn't telling anybody. Oh, wow. I mean, she's been traveling. She's been doing all kinds of shit. She's always out with her babies, always. Wow.
Oh,
crazy shit.
Horrible.
Crazy shit. I mean, yeah. That's nuts.
We live in a crazy time right now.
So they raised a black girl? This family?
Yes. She has reached out to me personally. She calls her mom.
Damn.
Her mother passed away when she was young. They were neighbors, I believe. The children were all very good friends. And after the mom passed away, they took on the role of being mother to her. She has nothing but good things to say about this family. She's, and I've heard that from multiple sources. I've got a couple of friends from back in the day when I owned a bar that they're black women and they adore this family. One of them doesn't live in the state anymore, and she has a son who's still in the state of Michigan. And she told me, she's like, Tammy, she's like, my son knows he can always go up to Faux House and they're going to take care of him and feed him because they love him and adore him. And her son is black. So I know there's a lot of issues between black and Asians, but it almost sounds to me like this one family might not be what everyone's characterizing them to be.
And let me clear something up for you, just between you and I. And be careful, because you said your name when you said that. So be careful. I've tried to keep you anonymous, so I want you to stay that way. So
okay,
they may not be a problem where that's concerned. They may not have an issue. But black people globally do not have a problem with Asians. See, here's the thing.
I believe
They
that.
they perpetually they perpetuated this madness because a few mental health people, and they have documented histories of every black person that has assaulted an Asian person. There's been something wrong with them. Documented mental health histories. I'm talking about you've been in a mental hospital, they were incarcerated, had mental health problems, just flat off their rocker type people. I've seen 3 Asian people get out and go to this hardware store. I haven't been compelled to run up on them, jump out of the truck, slap the shit out of nobody, run a cart into anybody. We don't hate them motherfuckers like the way they want to make us think we hate them. We only hate the ones who fucking hate us. And the way we defend ourselves is, yeah, we'll let you know. Oh, you don't like me? I don't like you either, bitch. We're not quiet about it. And that's what they want. And then they've got all the news channels out talking this shit, showing the same loop. They show the same loop. That old man walking down the street in New York, and then somebody just comes out of nowhere and pushes him down. Then you got the lady in Northern California. She doing something. Somebody just comes out, knocks the shit out of her. The same loop. They do the same shit. But how come we ain't seeing the spa shooting in Atlanta, where the little white boy took out all the women that he had had sex with for the last several months? How come we ain't seeing that?
That's a really good question.
They don't show that, but they want to show every single little incident from some head case that's messed with an Asian person, but they don't want to show whatever his name is. He got 3 names. It's like serial killer and shit. You know, with the alt-right haircut. They don't want to show him because they want to treat him as somebody, he's got a mental illness. He had a sexual addiction. I don't give a fuck. A sexual addiction because he goes to sex shops? No, he ain't got no rap. He can't get it on the outside, so he got to pay for it. Now he's all fed up. He's out of money and shit, so I'm going to go check some people out. You know, all the money I spent up in here, I can't get a freebie. I'll be right back. That's the type of shit that I think he was on. Fuck him.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
You know,
but what are the statistics the opposite way of Asian hate on blacks? Are there statistics on that?
Oh, wait a minute. Asians on blacks? Asians attack us 2 or 3 times to 1. There is an official statistic. The Asian woman out in California that killed the girl in her beauty supply place. Killed her. Didn't do a day in jail. Didn't do a day. There's been other documented Asian to black killings. People, they walk. They fucking walk.
I mean, the young black girl that was killed in the party store back in it probably was the 90s, I think, right before the whole Rodney King thing.
Actually, that's what it was. It was a party store then. I'm thinking, yeah, I forgot what her name is. Whoever's out west, they know. They know who it is, but she got shot. That lady didn't do a day in jail.
No, she didn't.
Didn't do a day.
Nope.
And ain't nobody said shit about that. They don't think about all this because it wasn't
just a black person, it was a black child she shot.
It's a black child. It was a black, and here's the thing. We get killed and assaulted over nails, hair supplies, hair weaves, candy. I mean, you know, if black people didn't like Asians, we wouldn't go up in their liquor stores and buy that stale, overpriced shit. If we didn't like Asians, we wouldn't go in there and buy their food and shit. I mean, you know how long we've been fucking hearing about that Asians don't use real chicken? And then the last thing I saw a couple days ago from Panda House, when they was throwing them fucking unloading them frozen dogs and shit. Did you see that? Frozen fucking dogs, walking them right in the back of a Panda House.
Shut up.
It was video. It wasn't a picture. It wasn't Photoshop. It was video, and it was a Panda House.
Oh, gross.
So you buy the franchise, you pay all that money, then you buy the building or rent the building out, and you pay all that money. Now you can't afford to buy chicken, so you got to feed motherfuckers dog.
Oh.
And whenever you see a movie, whenever you see a TV show, what's black people eating? Chinese food. Yeah, we hate Asians. We hate Asians. You know what I hate? Yeah, I hate Asians. I hate when Asians don't put my goddamn soy sauce in my motherfucking thing. Who the fuck is this, man? Oh, hold on a second. This. Hold on a second. This is Brother Daniel.
Okay.
Brother.
It's Wayne.
What's happening?
You still live?
I'm still live, man. I'm still talking. So be careful with what you're saying, because I just had the lady who basically she dropped all the bombs, and we just been having a discussion damn near an hour and 30 minutes, and I'm heading to get my daughter from work right now, but the conversation's still going. You all up in it too. If you didn't catch none of it, you all up in it.
I was listening to it for about a half an hour.
Okay, yeah, we still pumping, and everybody is supporting you. Everybody's pulling for you. We done basically exposed the sheriff's office, because just like you told me that the investigative report was very shoddy, that's why everybody been thinking this was an accident, bro. They tried to bring this off. It's like it was an accidental shooting. And that's why the judge was looking at it so crazy as to why he needed a higher bond, because the detective or the officer who took the report basically chalked it up as an accidental shooting, that he didn't mean to do it.
Right. But, they left out the fact that he chased him with a sledgehammer, and left out the fact, they left out a bunch of stuff, man.
Right. So I just wanted to make sure that this young lady literally knows the lady who owns that house. She knows a very good friend of hers. And they were trying to talk. They wanted to come to the table. The people at the Faux House wanted to come. Now they're being advised not to come to the table by their attorney. They wanted to talk. They wanted to clear the air, because they're not in cahoots with this motherfucker. She is. The daughter is. The daughter's fucked up. But the family, they're trying to preserve their reputation, and they're trying to preserve their safety. They're being threatened every day now. And they want to let people know they want out. They don't want to have nothing to do with him.
You know what, though, Dwayne? Once you get in, you can't just get out. You want to see what the water feel like. Once you get in, you're already wet.
Yes, sir.
Because they came over here and they moved all that man's shit out of his house, took it up to that restaurant. You hear me?
I get you.
And I seen it with my own eyes. I seen his cars behind there.
Right.
Then the very next day, they moved everything away. And then they started saying that they wasn't with him. Then they started sending people over here to get the mail out the box, because all the mail that come here got his name on it.
Yeah, they're trying to make it seem like he was just visiting. And you probably knew this already, that she wasn't home. But she said she didn't know nothing about. She said she wouldn't even know where he would have got a sledgehammer from. And as far as the gun goes, that needs to be investigated. Was that gun registered to that house? Is that gun?
None of them. There were 5 guns removed.
What?
There were 5 different firearms removed from that house.
Whose guns are they?
They're unregistered. Look at all of the charges.
Wow.
He got 4 different felony charges, and 3 of them are for, 2 of them are for assault, and the other 2 are unregistered.
Wow. Tam, are you still there?
I'm here. What's up?
Brother Daniels, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, Brother Daniels, this is a friend of mine, and I just fucked up and actually called her by her nickname, so that was dumb.
That's all right.
Okay. I mean, you know what? You already know, you good. So, but I this young lady on the phone, she breathed life into this situation that we didn't have, brother. And she done told some truths on here, just kind of putting herself in a little bit of a lurch. But like I told you, we got you. Ain't shit popping out here. Ain't shit popping out here in this community. It's gonna happen to the Daniels family. It's gonna happen to her family. And hopefully anybody that wants to stay on the right side of this shit. Anybody want to be on the wrong side of this shit, they can get fucked up out here. But we're on the right side of it.
The thing of it is, there's only one right side to it, and right is right and wrong is wrong.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well,
and that's what it is, man. And, ain't nobody trying to make no more out of this than what it is. If you're wrong, you're wrong.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
And you need to stand up. And you need to stand up and be accountable.
Right. Right.
Absolutely. I could not agree more.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So the charges, like I said, he got assault with intent to murder.
Right.
Assault with intent to do great bodily harm.
Right.
And then the other two charges on the case are firearms charges for the unregistered guns that they pulled out of this house.
That's a mandatory too. That's a mandatory too for every gun, right? Every unregistered firearm, right. I thought is a mandatory too.
Right, but all of these guns that they pulled out of the house that he didn't live in. That they say he didn't live in. So, but he's been at this house every day for the last 4 years that I've been here.
Wow.
I agree.
Wow.
And it's just crazy, man. And I want to, I used to work. I was under contract with that restaurant. So, I really didn't have no hard feelings toward them, but they hired me from that house. They hired me from here.
Come on, man.
Wow. You know what I'm saying? So how can you not be affiliated with this guy?
I definitely see your point, and I completely understand. There's clearly affiliation there. I think that they've been given very bad advice by an attorney. Unfortunately, and I know the mother.
There's no way. They have to give some type of advice, but there's no way to get away from. There's no way to get away from it.
Right, and I think
it's no way. There's no way they can separate themselves. I mean, they literally had a police escort come here to pick up all their stuff and took it all to the restaurant.
Wow.
All of the cars.
A restaurant he has no affiliation with.
All of the food, everything. They took it all directly to the restaurant. And then the following day, after the bond hearing, they moved all the stuff from the restaurant. It all disappeared.
So here's the thing. Have you seen the daughter? Have you seen Michelle?
Yeah, I saw her at American Grill eating breakfast for 2 days in a row.
Did you pull up on it and say, "Can I get that ketchup?" or what? I mean, what happened?
Absolutely not. I was advised by my attorney not to make contact with him.
Okay. So wait a minute. American Grill over on Holmes?
Listen, yeah, on Holmes Road. Now listen to this. But I was advised by my attorney not to make contact with him.
Right.
I'm sure that no attorney advised her not to acknowledge me.
You're wrong. That's exactly what the attorney told them. Not to speak with any of the family. They've been told not to put. They were told what to make public and what not to make public. And
right.
Unfortunately, I just have to think back to my grandparents and that generation. They're under the impression that when somebody of authority tells you something, you follow those. My grandparents were the same way. They didn't know any better. They grew up in error when, we were taught to, respect authority and our attorneys and the police and all that. And I think they've been put in a really bad situation. The family hasn't liked him from day one. It's been alleged that he's abused their daughter. I don't know. I don't know how accurate it is.
Can I ask a question? Let me ask a question. Hey, brother, have you ever felt like he might be abusing her? Like as far as domestic violence?
I don't know. I never could see her. She never comes out.
What do you mean she never comes out? She'll never come out the house?
No, she doesn't come out very often. She comes out, she gets in the car, and she goes to the restaurant.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, but if I own a house, I at least want to just sit on the porch and watch the cars go by every now and then, or, go sit in the back or something.
She can't say she was being abused because he didn't live there.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Don't none of that add up to me.
Right.
You live next door to the house?
Yeah, I live next door. Yeah.
Okay. You're related to Kobe?
I'm Kobe's dad.
This is Kobe's father.
Oh, this is Arnold. This is Arnold on the phone.
Yeah.
Well, it's really nice to actually talk to you. How is Kobe?
Kobe's fine. He, as well as could be expected under these circumstances.
I'm really sorry to hear that nobody has reached out to you from the county and they haven't come back out to speak to you. That's unfortunate, and it's not okay.
It is not.
Brother Arnold, you said, and because I felt the need, and I may have overstepped my boundaries with my language, but I really don't give a fuck at this point. There's been a couple people that do what I do. They done got on the horn a couple times talking about they would have did this and they would have did that. They're just talking a bunch of shit, selling wolf tickets. But will you just explain, obviously, as your lady said, you never walk your dog. And that day you chose to walk your dog. Can you just give me, as you walking back up the street, kind of how the layout was again?
When I was coming back up the street, I had probably 6 to 10 Washtenaw County sheriffs greet me before I made it to my property line, telling me I had to calm down.
Calm down. Wait a minute. What do you mean? What were you doing that you had to calm down?
I was asking them where my son was and what happened.
Oh, okay. So you got to calm down because you're wondering where your son is because you already know that you've had issues. Right. Okay, I get it.
I got a phone call. Stating what had happened.
Oh my God, that must have been terrifying.
Oh, it was, because I thought it was a joke at first. I mean, who would have a reason to shoot a 6-year-old kid?
There's no reason ever.
Right. So yeah, I thought it was a joke. It's surreal. That's a surreal experience. Probably no one will ever have again. But anyway,
they told you to calm down. I don't. Yeah, and I didn't get that. But go ahead. I'm sorry, bro.
And then they told me they were going to shoot my dog. Because they kept touching me, and my dog was reacting to them touching me. And it was just crazy. So when I finally made it to my house and put my dog inside the house, I realized at that point that I had passed the ambulance 7 houses down the block. Instead of the ambulance coming down here to where the injured person was, the ambulance was 7 houses away, and they were down here with Ryan.
Wow.
Which was kind of backwards to me. Seemed like they would have got the ambulance right to my house.
Right.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen either.
How did Kobe get into the back of the ambulance? Because he was in front of the house, right? When he got shot.
Right. I don't know. I wasn't here. That's what I said. When I was on my way home, I passed the ambulance almost at the corner. So I don't know if somebody carried him down there. I don't know.
Wow.
But
that's horrible.
That is horrible. But it's the little things that you think about, in retrospect afterwards, and wondering, well, damn, why wasn't that ambulance in my driveway? If my son got shot, then that ambulance should have been here.
Right over there.
Yeah.
So you never even had an opportunity. I'm sorry. You never had an opportunity. You never had an opportunity to actually go face to face with Ryan then.
No. By the time I got here, they had whisked Ryan away. Ryan was gone. And Ryan,
just because you have other children and a child that has just been shot, you need to take care of.
Right.
That was a very responsible decision, in my opinion.
Right. But he wasn't even here for me to confront.
See, that's what's being perpetuated now, that you had an opportunity. Yeah, go ahead.
By the grace of God, let me share this with you.
Yes, sir.
By the grace of God, I wasn't home.
Yeah.
Because they would have been arresting me and it would have been the coroner probably picking Ryan up.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's the problem.
That's how it would have played out. And then Washington County would have spun it as two angry neighbors.
Right.
And my son getting caught in the crossfire.
Right. Yeah, that would have been all made up. He would have been in the crossfire, and this would have been hate against Asians, and da-da-dee-da-da-da. They would have spun it all different kinds of ways, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, in hindsight, I thank God that everything went the way that it went because my son is okay.
Right.
But just like I was at his kindergarten graduation yesterday, I thank God that he was alive to attend it.
Absolutely. We don't want no certificates and all that stuff. If he ain't here, it ain't worth it to us at that point.
Hey, let me tell you something, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm a dad, and it stands on its own merit. I'm a dad first. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So everything else that goes with this bullshit, I ain't with it. I ain't asking nobody for shit. Just want justice.
Absolutely. And I ain't trying to steal your thunder on this. I ain't trying to steal your thunder on this, brother. But you a man first, because you a man first, because a man wouldn't be taking care of the kids the way you take care of your kids, your lady, your house, your business. You a man first.
Right. I mean, I'm saying I would have threw my whole life away for my son, though.
Absolutely.
If I would have been here, man, and it didn't even, you know, I'm serious. It could have been a slingshot.
Right.
And I would have, and he couldn't even answer. He couldn't even answer.
So, I have a question. Washington County was obviously on the scene. Your child had been shot, so you're.
Yes.
So, did Washington County interview you? Did they keep you at the house? Did they come to the hospital to meet you? Did they come by afterwards, or?
They accompanied me to the hospital. They had one officer, Officer Kelly, accompanied me to the hospital. And in their defense, he was the best officer they had. Every other officer I encountered was rude, aggressive, and disrespectful. I had to tell them all, I'll pay you.
There you go.
Wow.
You know.
Your child has been shot and they were rude to you?
Oh, man. Just totally.
They should have been going to get you a coffee or a pop or food. They should have been
anything I needed. Anything I needed. You know, I had to literally tell them not to cross my fence line. That's how heated I was after dealing with them for 10 feet.
Wow.
You know, and I understand. I understand that I was a little hot and a little hostile, but what was going on? Right. But what was going on here, you should be trained to handle, not me.
Right. So
I'm not the one that's supposed to be. I'm not the one that's supposed to be trained to handle traumatic experiences. You are. That's your job.
You're 100% correct. Can I ask you one other question?
Sure.
With the possibility of Ryan being released in the next few days, do you have fear of him coming now that he understands the charges are very serious against him? Do you have fear of him doing something stupid coming back?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because I feel like he has nothing to lose.
Yeah. And that's what's scary. And that's my fear.
That is the scariest thing. That's the scariest thing. A guy with
4 children in that house.
I have 7 other children.
Wow.
Not in this house. But I have 7 other children, and I have a neighborhood of children that are at this house. You know, my house is
his house is the hub. His house is the hub.
Yeah.
It's the Kool-Aid house.
Yeah.
It's the Kool-Aid house.
That's
what I used to call it when my kids were little.
When the kids throw their bite down, they throw their bite down. I saw it.
The ice cream man run a tab for me.
I love it.
I'm serious. He runs a tab.
I love it.
He gives all the kids ice cream, and then he come and get the money from me tomorrow.
Oh my goodness, that is great. So, I mean, your dad, like, that's your priority, like you stated earlier. And
Right.
has the county or anybody contacted you about him being released, or?
No, I haven't checked my email today. And the way they've been notified, the way I've been getting notified, they call my neighbor, the lady who made the 911 call. They call her. They don't call me.
Okay, and that was.
I'm sorry.
The neighbor that you're referring to Melissa?
Yeah.
Okay. I spoke with Melissa a couple of days ago, or maybe it was
they call her. The prosecutor's office call her. They don't call me. You know, and I'm like, I was doing an interview with Channel 2, and that's how I found out when he got out the first time, because she came out her front door and told us right on camera. They just released him, and we was like, huh?
So wrong. They're worried about protecting this man, but not your family.
We really don't feel that important. So, I don't know. Like, you know, I told
you. Community that we could do for you.
Well, I mean, you guys, the community has done more than the police officers have done thus far. You know, I'm comfortable with the community, man. I'm a community person. You know, I deal with the community on a daily basis, and you know, just dealing with what we're dealing with is something a little different.
And here's
speaking of the ice cream, it's time to pay the piper. Here he comes.
Here he comes. He's like, I need my money. It's Sunday. I need my money.
Right.
So here's the thing. If what's going on right now? What's going on right now? You said the county hasn't done anything. So you should have talked to a social worker already. Kobe should have talked to a social worker with you and your lady. I forgot her name when I met her. I'm sorry. They should have already. They should have talked. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know. Sierra, I think, was here.
Yeah, Sierra was there.
Yeah. But what the thing is, I already called CMH. I mean, community, CMH. And I made an appointment on my own for Kobe to get some type of therapy.
Sure.
And he has an intake next Thursday.
Okay. Good job, Dad.
You know, and my other child, because he was there too.
Who was screaming?
You know, but I mean,
who was screaming? Kobe got shot. Was that his brother too?
That's my daddy. That's my 11-year-old.
That's your 11-year-old. Okay.
Yeah.
And everybody basically that was in the pack when the shooting happened. When the shooting happened, those were all his brothers, just right there in that little part right there, right?
Yeah, well, that was my neighbor 2 doors down. That was her kids.
Okay.
And we kind of co-parent.
Sure, I get you.
You know what I mean?
That's
like everybody don't let their kids go everywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So you know, if my kids are outside, my kids can go to her house, and I don't care what she's doing. If she cooking dinner, she feed my kids. If her kids are out here and I order pizza or I cook something, then her kids come in and eat.
Right.
You know, and we take care of each other.
That's community.
You know what I mean?
That's a neighborhood. That's a real neighborhood right there.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I get it.
Right.
I get it.
I had a neighbor like that when my kids were little. That's a beautiful thing.
Right. It is. And I mean, you know, I got her back. And that's Tykeisha Johnson.
Much respect to Tykeisha. You know, if she works late, I'm sure you can take care of the kids. And if you're on a job a little late and and she needs to do something for yours, that's a beautiful thing that can all work out that way.
Right. She's the greatest, man. I mean, she does Kobe's hair, because I'm a single dad, so
I get it.
So if his hair or she see it, I don't have to say Kobe's hair needs doing. Come on, Kobe, come on in. Let me do your hair. Get your hair together.
Okay.
Whatever. You know what I mean?
I got it.
She keep him right.
I got it. I mean, and just because you do have this type of support, it still does not negate the fact that the county should have already reached out. I mean, we have a very public community engagement officer.
I'm gonna tell you, you know, they trickled in. Better late than never, though. You know what I mean? The county executive, I don't know, I remember his name right off.
Is that you
mean he did stop by?
The county commissioner? That's Ricky Jefferson.
No, the county executive.
Oh, the county executive. Okay, who's that?
Yeah,
the Washtenaw County executive.
Yeah, that's what he called himself. He said he was the head of all of this.
I'd like to know his name.
He was a fair-skinned black guy, you know, real light-skinned guy.
Derek Jackson? Sounds like Derek Jackson.
Yeah, that's who that sounds like.
Yeah, that's probably who it was.
That was who it was. Okay, well, here's the thing. Let me just explain something to you there. And if he did come by, I'm not going to commend him for doing his job, but Derek Jackson is a social worker by trade. So the problem I have with that is he didn't sit down with you and your family and go over this situation because he likes to tout that title that he carries of being a social worker. And he's not really a police, he's a social worker. And he's not really this and that.
He wasn't in uniform or nothing. He just had on some shorts.
Okay, well,
he was in Westlaw.
Yeah. Well,
he was in regular civilian clothes.
Sure, I get it.
I've had so many people come by, man. I don't want to misspeak and say, you know, it was or wasn't. But this guy identified himself as the county executive, and he said that, you know, all this runs through him, and he didn't give me no card or nothing.
That's interesting. And don't let nobody come back to your house unless they give you some credentials, because you don't know exactly who you're talking to. And if somebody says that they're a county executive, you want to see information, you want to see identification, and you don't want nobody talking to Kobe or any of the other kids without you standing right there.
Right.
Absolutely. And if that was Derek Jackson could have had him in therapy the next day. He's got enough pull to do that.
That's my problem. That's my problem. If he was who he said he was, he had the authority to have, if it wasn't Derek Jackson, have Derek Jackson come there that day, or if not the next day, and get Kobe signed up.
This is what I know for damn sure. No matter how much authority, I shouldn't have authority.
Exactly.
I shouldn't. Then I want. Right, but see now, like even from beginning to end, bro, I wouldn't have got nothing done. Nothing would have been done if it wasn't for me making that initial call to Channel 2 to come out and get this story so I could get somebody to see what happened. This fucker would have been.
You contacted Channel 2?
Yes, ma'am.
That's interesting to me because they're the only ones that have really reported on it. MLive isn't, the other stations aren't really reporting on it. And the one who is, you had to reach out to.
Yeah, I had to reach out to it. And it seems like to me that it's public information and someone from the county would have reported what happened.
They're suppressing the incident. They're suppressing
because everything else that happened in Ypsilanti gets reported. If my son go out here and pull a gun out on one of these kids out here and do something, it's going to be all over MLive on every phone in Ypsilanti.
Brother Arnold, Brother Arnold,
Washtenaw County.
Brother Arnold, the reason that this is being suppressed is because his mother, I believe, works at the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office. If not, she is a badge of some type for Washtenaw County. And his father.
All I know is
and his father works in Livingston County, because that's why they keep using Livingston County as his launching pad. They're his landing pad.
Right.
Because there'd be no other reason to send him to Livingston County if he didn't have reach out there. So he has the reach here.
Shit, we got a couple of counties between here and there, don't we?
Exactly.
Yeah, we do. That was my point.
And plenty of jail cells.
You're in Wayne County, 10 minutes away.
Right. Shit. They could have put him right over in Van Buren jail. He'd have been safe.
That's what I said.
That's
that
true.
was my entire point.
They got a task force over there with jail cells.
Yep.
They
do.
You're 100% right.
There's no reason why he actually was transported other than their reach.
What it is really is a whole bunch of preferential treatment that the county has allowed.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they participated in it, but you know what? Don't nothing happen in the county unless they participate.
This is true.
And like I told you in the beginning of this conversation, you can't get in the water without getting wet. And they wet.
Everybody. So
everybody from every officer that came here that participated in the arrest, they all knew what they were doing. The only officer that was in the dark to what was going on here was Officer Kelly. Because Officer Kelly was at the hospital with me. He didn't know what was going on. He's like, wow, I can't believe it. Wow, man, I can't believe it. I've never seen nothing like this in my life.
So I've been a part. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just have one question. Were you provided a copy of the actual police report of the incident?
Absolutely not.
You were not provided a copy?
I was not. Okay. I was not provided a copy. I was not notified when he was released from jail. I was not even notified that he posted. And we wait on the court day.
I don't even have words.
I don't either. My and like I told these people before this even started, I said, look, I got a family, and my family is pretty volatile, man, about this whole situation. I got a host of friends. I've had people calling me from California, Alabama, Houston. Mm-hmm. I'm 53 years old. I've been all over these United States. I know people everywhere, because I was a truck driver, and I know people everywhere. And, these people want answers.
Right.
And I don't have.
You deserve the answers. Kobe deserves the answers. He deserves the justice.
That's right.
He needs to be protected above and beyond. Why is he not being protected when this man shot him allegedly?
Yeah. Right. Right. I agree with you 100%.
It's not okay. So where do we go from here, guys? I mean, what's our next step? Do we figure out why Washtenaw County is doing this? Who's actually pulling the strings?
Well, at Washtenaw County, they did. Wow. I'm just waiting for the mayor. I really don't have words. I don't see how no way in America he should be able to meet the criteria of these bond conditions. And if they figure out a way for him to do all of that, because his bond conditions say he's not supposed to be near any kids. He has to have 24-hour surveillance and a GPS tether. And whoever posted his bond has to be the person to do that. And I want to see who this person is.
Well, and here's the thing. Nobody keep an eye on him 24 hours. And even if with the GPS tracker, if he decides, you know what, fuck it, I'm going down anyways, that doesn't stop him from driving by your house.
Absolutely
and doing something stupid.
Exactly. I feel the same way. And with a person that has nothing to lose, that would be the first thing. I was a kid once, and I was put on tether, and I just removed it. When I was a kid, and it wasn't even for nothing. It wasn't even. It was for nothing. But still, I didn't want to do it, so I didn't do it. You know what I mean? and I had to deal with my consequences. But if he takes his off, it could cost somebody their life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So,
and that's the difference.
That's scary.
So
that's the difference, and scary, and just because, you know, and like I heard you say something earlier about they shouldn't play the "I'm crazy" card because he works for whoever he works for, and he's had all types of psychological evaluations. Well, I think the fact that they fought so hard for him to get bond and to get free should take that off the table for them.
Absolutely. See, my thing is this: if you think that he has a problem, if you feel like there's some mental health issues, y'all probably want to leave him in there and have him go through a slew of examinations. You know,
right?
You
see, they're not gonna do that yet.
No,
they're not gonna do that yet.
No,
that's gonna be after the evidence against them has been heard. Then they're gonna go to that crazy shit.
Right. Right.
But see, it's nobody playing on.
And his family, as they continue to reach out, and I don't know, and her family knows that they're reaching out to her. So that needs to come up as well. There's been some coercion between the times that he's been incarcerated and been released and been re-incarcerated. That needs to be brought out too, because why are they needing to coerce their daughters, and their son's girlfriend to do something? There's obviously an issue.
Well, they actually came over to this house and took pictures of us, bro.
Who?
And I'm the people they sent here, bro.
What?
Wow.
The people that were sent here. They had a police escort to come over here. They came over here. They picked up these cars and they took pictures of my whole fucking family.
What?
Yeah.
That's insanity. Yeah. You guys are being treated like criminals when you did nothing but have a child out of place.
I mean, it wasn't the police that took the pictures. It was Ryan. It was the people, the so-called people that have nothing to do with Ryan.
Right.
Michelle's family or whoever they sent over here. But one of the guys was Ryan's brother, or something. And then the owner of the restaurant, what he told me, I better lawyer up.
Who said that?
No.
The guy who owns the restaurant, the one that keeps coming on the YouTube, on the I can't know what you call it, but he keeps coming up saying that the restaurant ain't affiliated with them.
He told you better lawyer up?
Yeah, he yelled it out the car window. All my neighbors heard him. Told me I need to lawyer.
See,
Yeah.
and then we had an attorney, and we had an attorney online last night. We had an attorney online last night saying everybody needs to let Faux House go because they don't have anything to do with this. But the Faux House owner comes to your house, removes Ryan's items, and says, y'all better lawyer up. Yep. Wow. Okay. Wow. So anybody caping for Faux House.
That leads me to two questions. Right.
This is crazy.
So that leads me to two questions. One, did you have an affiliation with that family prior to this incident? I think I read somewhere that you used snow removal for them. Yeah, I plowed their snow. I did their snow for 2 seasons. My company did. Okay. And that's what I had heard. That you had that relationship with the family prior to this incident. Wow, I'm just dumbfounded by this. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. You better lawyer up. Wow.
Lawyer up. Hey, I've never been a part of something like this to this degree. The one thing that I can remember when there was a death and there was a lot of police, they came up to the victim's family, and every single one of those officers shook the hand of everybody in that family. And it sounds like to me, you might not even have one of the deputies shake your hand, let alone them coming up saying, "Hey, sorry."
Officer Kelly, Officer Kelly, I'm gonna send a shout out to him, man. Officer Kelly was a good dude, man.
But that was at the hospital. That was at the hospital, right?
Right. But yeah, he rode with me. We rode for the time came by my house a couple of times.
Please don't tell me they're citing you.
No. He came to offer his condolences and anything he could do, just let him know. I don't have no problems with the township at all.
Good.
And I don't have no problems with nobody.
Right.
You rode all the way from Briarwood back there? Oh. Oh, okay. That's forgivable. No, my daughter my daughter got to pick. She got my son in the back of the pickup truck, and that's illegal. You can't ride back there like you used to in the 70s.
Right.
No, we can't do that anymore.
What was the seatbelt? What was the seatbelt back then? Yeah. Well, I appreciate you just calling me back. I didn't know we was gonna turn it into an hour conversation, and I didn't know I was still gonna be live. But I'm actually kind of speechless, and it takes a lot for me to be rendered speechless. I'm gonna tell you right now, but I am like totally speechless. I'm usually just at no loss for words, but
all I can say to you is this: welcome to my world.
Hey,
I've been speechless. I've been speechless for days, watching everything unfold the way it unfolds, and I feel like I'm all tied up here.
I can't imagine, man. I can't.
Not really. Yeah, I'm not really. I mean, I'm more of a physical, active, hands-on type of dude, and it's real hard for me to just sit back and let shit unfold, especially when it doesn't unfold the way I want it to.
Right, I get it.
And that leads me to one question. So, can your attorney find out when the next hearing would be?
I'm gonna have to. My attorney can do anything. I would hope. But I'm gonna.
That would be helpful.
Yeah,
I think the community needs to be aware of when that hearing is.
Here's the thing: you talking about his next hearing, Ryan's next hearing. His next hearing was supposed to be July 22nd. Not to get out of jail, but the actual hearing was July 22nd.
All right, let me tell you, the condition of the bond is once the bond posts, then we have to go back to court, and we have to be satisfied with that the conditions are met. The prosecutor.
You can be a part of that. You're going to be a part of that then.
Exactly. Good. But I haven't been notified that he's even out. That he's even posted.
So, and that's because Livingston County is still showing him there and showing no bond because he's got to go to court in Washtenaw County. They're just housing him out there. They're housing him and feeding him, and they don't have any, they have nothing else. That's what the deputy basically said. He's like, he doesn't have a bond with us. We can't release him, and that's the only information we have. So, but yes, I'm sorry, brother, I cut you off.
No, my daughter's at. My son just went and got some cracks or something, man.
I know your family. I know your family is back there, and y'all had a big weekend. It's been Kobe's weekend. You're trying to get back to some level of normalcy. We're gonna keep checking on
you. Everybody came for the
graduation.
For the graduation, right? And oh man, I done had a week. Somebody pulled out somebody's driveway back into my old school. Yeah. And my son took my Monte Carlo to McDonald's, and somebody turned in front of him.
Oh,
That
come
all
on.
happened today.
That wasn't right. That wasn't right down the street, was it? That wasn't right down the street, was it? There was an accident right down the street.
Yeah, there was when we were on the phone earlier.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was your son?
Speedway, that little gray and black Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my son driving that.
Oh man, you need a boy.
Oh no.
You're gonna need a vacation, aren't
you? Need a vacation, dude.
I do need a vacation. I do need a vacation.
You need a vacation.
But I got a couple of houses I got to finish first because I missed all week. I got a couple of construction companies depending on me to get these houses done, man. So I'm gonna try to get
with good reason.
But it looks like it looks like I'm gonna have to take the day off again tomorrow though, because it looks like I'm gonna have to go back to court or something. I mean, don't know.
Because somebody's gonna notify you, I'm sure, tomorrow if what we know to be true, because they're gonna have to at least schedule hearings.
He says that they contacted the neighbor Melissa, and she's the one who who posted that he had made one, but he has to go back to court.
I talked to her. Have you seen Melissa?
But she also was released on Friday night too, and I woke up Saturday morning without I woke up livid Saturday morning and messed up my whole morning thinking he was out, and it was a rumor. So
all right,
that's what she said. She said that the first communication with the jail said he was released, but then when she called back, they told her that bond had been posted, but he has to go before the judge before he can be released.
Right.
Well, if any of this is true, we want to make sure. Because we're only going based off of what we know Melissa to be true.
I called Prosecutor Ely.
Uh-huh.
Immediately Friday, and he said nothing to me about a bond being posted or anything. He said the bond hadn't been posted yet, but if it does post, we have to reset a court date and go through the proper channels, and we get a chance to dispute whether he's released or not.
Okay.
I don't see under any circumstances why he should be released. I just can't see no reason. Especially if he can't go to work. I mean, the conditions of his bond says he can't be around kids, people, can't, it's a bunch of conditions. It's just a bunch of conditions that were put there so they couldn't be met.
Well, and, it sounds like he has to be put on a farmland where there's no children, out in the middle of nowhere to meet those conditions.
Exactly. And I still wouldn't feel safe with that, because I think there shouldn't be no automobiles there then, and he should have a chain around his neck, bolted to a fence. You know what I mean? I want to make sure. I just want to make sure, I can sit in my front yard like I can sit in my yard.
In this day and age, they can get a tablet that he has to be in front of, or you have access to know exactly where he's at. I don't know how much of how legal that would be, but as the victim,
but to me, that's going to an extreme when we already know that the heinous crime has been committed.
Yeah.
And I don't mean, I spoke with a representative, man, and I really think that he should fall under the terrorism statute.
He shot into a pack of kids. It was a mass shooting. He just hit one person. See, that's the problem. That's what we're not. All. Yeah, he just hit one person. It was a mass shooting.
We don't know what happened. We don't know if what happened. Chase my kid with a sledgehammer, and then the house got guns. What he was doing.
Absolutely.
And that's the scariest part of it all.
Right. Hey,
literally,
Brother Arnold.
You literally had time to think about it.
Brother Arnold, what did you say? Didn't you say that there had been a situation where he had thrown Kobe's bicycle in the trash or something?
Yes. What you doing, man? What you doing? Ain't no need to stop. Keep going. In the house. Yeah.
So there have been other instances with the kids.
There was a situation last week where I woke up at 7:30. I woke up at 7:30 in the morning and was drinking my coffee, and I looked out my front window to observe him throwing my son's bike about 8 steps away in the garbage when he could have took 1 step and put it in my yard.
Wow.
You know, and I brought that to his attention when I came out the door. I'm like, you took all that energy to go throw my son's bike in the garbage, as opposed to just putting it over the fence.
So that would have, our garbage in this neighborhood runs on Monday, so that would have been the day before Kobe was shot.
Yep. Well, no, that would have been that happened the week before.
Okay, the week before, so the prior Monday.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Hey, can you turn that down? They just get here, man.
Sounds like you've got a bunch of family over.
Well, they just pulled up. They just pulled up from the grocery store, so everybody's coming out the house. It's like, you know, they all still here from the graduation, like I mentioned earlier. So all my grown kids are here. I got a 18, 19, 20-year-old. And then they all have significant others. So it's like 6, 7 people.
I love it. I'm glad they're all there. I'm sure Kobe appreciates all the support, and he deserves it.
Okay, let me get away from him. Okay, so that's what it is, man. We'll see what happens tomorrow. If I get a notification to do anything, I really can't move because if the notification comes, then I'm kind of stuck, you know. I mean, hopefully it won't be something I have to do immediately. You know, they'll say, well, maybe we got a hearing next week, you know. But the way things been going with this court and dealing with this guy gets a court date the same day.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. My granddaughter's at the park, and I had to go hug her real quick. So,
and so I don't understand. I don't know what could happen. They could call me and say, well, we have a hearing right now. You got to log on to such and such, such and such, such. That's how it's been going. You know,
you're the last to know. You should be the first to know that there's a hearing.
But if it was me and I was in jail and I was waiting on a court date or a hearing to get a bond reduction, it would be a month away.
Right. They got an emergency hearing within 48 hours, 24 hours, something like that.
Well, we did that. Right. We did that though. I did that.
Yeah.
You know, to the prosecutor. You know, I did that. I filed that motion myself.
So what happens if Channel 2 doesn't report this? This is what's crazy to me, because I didn't realize you called. I thought they found out.
I'm gonna keep it 100, man, and I'm gonna get out because I don't want to be quoted and this to go viral too or nothing. But man, if I hadn't, they thought they was just messing with some stupid African American guy that wasn't gonna say shit, that was just gonna lay down and let them treat him any way they wanted to treat him. But I have never been that person.
Right.
I have never been that person. I have never allowed this system to look down or treat me any less than they treat anybody else.
That's right.
And that's it.
I'm glad that you actually called, because what happened, what's been reported, and people are talking and they're acting as if that you didn't stand up for your family, and people don't understand. You not only stood up for your family, you did the smart thing, because without you in play, You got 7 children that rely on you, whether they're in that house or out of that house, and you can't be the man that they need you to be if you locked up. So that to me showed you being more of a man and showing more restraint than a lot of people talking about, oh man, I'd have did this and I'd have did that. Like, yeah, but that's you because you have an hourly job. That's you because you have a salary job.
I ain't even gonna let you go there because if I'd have been home, I probably would have did all that other stuff.
I get what you're saying. But see,
I would have naturally not thought about it and just defended my family and dealt with the consequences.
I'm glad you decided to take the dog for a walk that day. I'm just glad you decided to take the dog for a walk that day.
There you go. That's how I look at it.
Yep.
That's how I look at it. You know, it was just things just presented themselves in such a way. By the grace of God, my son's injuries weren't critical, but they still were.
Right.
You know, and yeah.
I know you have to get to your family and stuff.
Absolutely.
Shannon may have more questions for you, but I guess, is there anything that we can do to support you and Kobe and your family?
Just keep talking. I mean,
we ain't gonna let this die. You know? We ain't gonna let this die. So, you know.
Right, just support us.
Yeah. I went on Zeke's post. I went on Zeke's post about 3:00 this morning and thanked him again for pulling up to Washtenaw, because you know they do so much stuff in Detroit and all around the country. For him to drop through Ypsilanti, that was big right there. You know, for them to come out and I know when we need them to band up again, they'll come through. You know, and that I'm trying to fuck with people like that on the Washtenaw County level, but I can't get everybody in that same type of understanding that if we don't protect and police our own communities,
that would scare Washtenaw County to death. It'll change who Washtenaw County is.
Well, I'm sorry. I think we need to change that because
I think that's what needs to happen.
I agree. I didn't say that I didn't agree with it.
Yeah.
I just said it was scared them to death.
Well, okay. Well, you know what? We need to need a couple death beds.
When you're dealing with people like that, you know, that live by right is right and wrong is wrong. You know, not right is right,